Yes. So next class, this is we have discussed so far in the last class about the data abstraction. That what do you mean by an abstract class? What do you mean by an interface implementation? And technical difference between abstract class and a interface class. Fine. So these are the data abstractions. Then we have discussed so far about data independence. What do you mean by a logical data independence and a physical data independence? We have discussed about the physical schema. This is our physical schema. This is about our conceptual schema. So this is what do you mean by conceptual schema and what do you mean by physical schema we'll discuss later in this half. But that means a logical independence. That means what you are changing into your front end is not affecting your physical data storage. And similarly, if you are moving or making up your data anywhere in the physical data storage, it will not affect your front end user. So this is called as your logical data independence, and this is physical data independence. Then same here we have discussed so far physical data independence and logical. One is called the conceptual level, bottom level is called as your physical level, and front end level is called as your external level. Fine. Now, so we have discussed in this class, what about the classification of DBMS? Anybody has any idea? That we have discussed that what do you mean by a single user? Based on the user, it can be classified into single user and a multi-user. Similarly, based on the distribution is, it can be your centralized data as well as your distributed data. We'll discuss in detail in fourth unit about distributed database. Definitely, we are discussing currently about the centralized database. And the based on your data models, it can be your classical model. Classical model can further be divided into relational, network, and hierarchical. And similarly, the new current emerging is your object-oriented databases and your object relational databases. We will discuss in these in details in unit third. So it is just an overview that these are relational, these are various categories, and we'll discuss in detail in other further units. Then what are the end users? I think all of you know what are the end users. There are actually two categories. One is, I think everyone knows what do you mean by application programmer and what do you mean by a system programmer. Anybody can answer? What do you mean by there are two categories? One is an application programmer and one is a system programmer. Anybody would like to add a comment or anyone to give a definition about the system programmer or an application programmer? Hello? Hello? Is I am audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Anybody wants to give the answer for what do you mean by application programmer?
And basically, in case of application programmer, the developer develops an application to perform some functions or features which can help
Okay.
in. And in case of a system, it develops a drivers which runs the hardware or a system.
Yes. Very true and very correct definition. Thank you. What's the good name, Bache?
Ajay Prajapati.
Okay, Ajay Bache. Is a very correct definition he has given. That is one is an application. We are at what we are. We are application on a system.
We are application.
We are application programmers. Yes. So there are two categories. One is your application programmers and one is your system programmers. So application programmers are nothing but who are creating the front end application either in C, or you can say who can develop these softwares in high level languages. High level means your C, C++, Java, C Sharp, or whatever your .NET framework or everything that is countable for your front end application. So if you are making any software or any app in the form of high level languages, then it's called as your application programmers. And another category is called as system programmers. If they are using, you can say, a low level languages like your compiler, your microprocessors languages, your you can say Fortran, Pascal. These are also a middle level languages, but compiler level designing, all your system hardware programming is done by your system programmers. So that is one category. One is the system programmers and one is the application programmers. And what we are being taught in this MCA would be you taught to your MCA. These are all your application programming. Fine. And you have to develop the application. We are not doing any kind of system programming in this NCA course. So we are application developers. Similarly, application developers who actually work at your front end and your back end. What about the of the end users? End users are the users, for example, these are the casual users, naive, sophisticated, and standalone. These are the three categories of users. For example, casual users are the people who actually access your databases occasionally for different time, different purposes, for different set of data. So these are all categories of your casual users. Similarly, naive, who are actually querying and updating the database. Like for example, they naive users are also called as your parametric users, or you can say a predefined. जो already defined transactions होती हैं, like reservations में, hotels में, you are using a databases and in which you are querying up. So there are types of fixed queries and canned transactions in which they are only operating, they are only running that one. They are not making that queries, they are only running that queries and fetching the output from the database or fetching the result from the database. So these are called as your naive users. They have the preset of everything, queries, and they're only running in. So this category is called as your naive or users. They don't know how to work in a database. They only been queries being defined set, and they will only operate in. Similarly, sophisticated are the users who actually knows the database. Sometimes they can design, they can even admin the database. So these are all called as your, or you can say DBA. These are called as your sophisticated. So they work on a database, even they can design, they can manipulate, they can delete, they can admin all kind of queries on that one. So this category is known as your sophisticated database, or you can say DBA category. And standard are not, you can say non-professional or a simple, like for example me, like you, who are using Excel, who are using MySQL for a standalone purposes. We are not working on any server. So that is category is called as your standalone. For in the colleges or in the student, they are using as a standalone users for their personal basis. So this is a few categories. There are other few also, like for example, several categories. Similarly, sophisticated has further categories of the managers, administrator, and so on. So they are further. So these are basic categories: casual, naive, sophisticated, and your standalone users. Similarly, we can also move to what do you mean by a schema? Anybody has any definition about schema and instance? Anybody wants to answer the definition of the schema, or what do you mean by an instance of the database?
Schema is the structure or the blueprint of the database, and instance is the uh, record or the number of records in the database at that particular moment of time.
Yes, it is very correctly said that schema is actually your logical, or you can say a conceptual definition or description of the database. Like this one, this is a schema. What about your table consists of? What is the name of the table? How many columns will be there? Which column is a primary key? What are to be constrained on the data? And what to be entered? Your types, your varchar, your data types, your strength, your magnitude of the data, everything defined in the form of a schema. So schema is actually a description. Fine, it's a conceptual description. So schema is actually nothing but a visual representation of your database, which is a set of that govern a database. And what do you mean by an instance? Instance is this one. And this is your schema. You are putting up or creating a table, or table has a structure like this: account number with a char with 10 as a value. Similarly, balance is one of the column and integer is a data type. So this is a schema. An instance is actually, you can say, is actually the content at a particular time of frame, that is called as your instance. Actually content for database at a particular point in time, that is called as instance. उस moment पे उस table के अंदर कौन सा data है at that just moment of the time, that is called as your instance. So this is an instance. There's a snapshot of your data at that moment of the time. So this snapshot is called as an instance, and that schema is nothing but a description. What your table contains, what table that tells about the description of the table, that is your schema, and what that table contain with the description, that is called the instance. So it is just at a particular given of time. Fine. So that is called as your instance. So you read it out the definition from here, that data stored in a database at a particular time, that is called the instance. Schema is the formal description of the structure of the table, or your database. And instance is whereas a set of information that is stored in a database at a particular time. Similarly, instance can be changed frequently, whereas schema doesn't change frequently. So it's most of the time it is fixed, and it can changes according to the transactions it is going into the table. So one is called your schema and one is called as your instance. This is your schema. This is your definition, and the diagrams represent your instance schema. Similarly, physical data independence, I have already told us, you can modify your physical schema. Physical schema means that you can change the physical storage, your capacity, you can increase your RAM, you can alter your hardware. It will not affect your logical schema. It will not affect your table. For example, if I increase my RAM size, I will decrease my RAM size, increase the partitions, or I stored my schema, or I store my this database in any of the drive, it will not affect my schema. The logical schema or description of the table, it will not be changed. So that means to modify your physical schema, it will not affect your logical schema. Fine. So this is your instances and schema. Then next, with few terminology that we have to know, we will discuss in lab class about the types of languages we have, because it's been discussed in unit 3 about SQL in detail. So we'll discuss in detail, but just have the gist or overview of what kind of languages we have. So DBMS languages can be data DDL, that is called as your data definition language. This is called data DML, that is your data manipulation language. Similarly, DCL, data control language, and transaction control, that is called as TCL, transaction control languages. We will discuss in detail in unit 3rd, but these are. Anybody tell me what you mean by a drop table? Yes, drop command. Anybody?
I'm deleting a table.
Ma'am, it will drop the table, the structure of the
Drop
table.
the table.
It
Deleting
will
structure
drop
of the table.
Yes, it will drop the data as well as it will drop the schema of the structure. So you have total identity loss here. So deleting means, what do you mean by deleting? What do you mean by deleting?
Ma'am,
Deleting
deleting
specific data.
particular
Ma'am, it will
record.
Not the
delete the
Yes,
structure.
content of the data.
it will delete the contents of the table, and it will drop, means it will drop the schema of the table with the data. Then I think rename, everyone knows it. Fine. What do you mean by revoke and a command grant?
Ma'am,
Anybody revoke?
grant is to give permission and revoke is to take back the permission.
Yes.
Yes, granting, authorizing, and withdrawing.
The privileges. Yes, very true. All the user privileges can be taken. Fine. That is called as revoke command, and giving up the user privilege, that is called as your grant command. What do you mean by rollback and commit?
Ma'am,
Ma'am, it is
commit
used in transactions.
save changes and rollback is to take back that.
Take back, yes.
Undo. Fine. Rollback is just a undo, or you can say revert back the commands which you have done it. And commit means, what do you mean by commit?
Ma'am, to save the change.
Saving the data, transactions.
Yes, commit means totally save the data. Committing means you are actually making not a snapshot or saving the data in the temporary basis, but you have wanted that permanent change to be done in the schema and the table. That is for the commit commands. Once the commit commands executes, you cannot roll back. So fine. So rollback is Rollback can be done before committing. So committing once done cannot be rolled back. So it's permanently change your database and the schema of the table. So one committing done, you cannot change or you change the data, but you cannot roll back the earlier transaction. You have committed that changes in the database. Fine. So these are your various categories: DDL, DML, DCL, and TCL. So this is basically a transaction. We'll discuss further what you mean by a transaction, what are the properties are there. So this is just a few commands which can be used as different manipulation languages. I think you can read it out. This one: select, insert, delete. To make an index, the command is index. Fine. Alter command is always to change the table. One of the command to change the schema, you can use the alter command. Drop, all will give the grant permissions to all except the grant option. Grant options is to exclude something. Otherwise, all means to give the permission to all. A command or grant command. We'll discuss in lab classes in detail about each and every command. Don't worry about this. Is a grant command, and to taking back the permissions, you're taking back, then you have to using the revoke command. Fine. It is for assigning. Grant command is for the assigning, and revoke command is for removing the rights. Fine. Similarly, we have discussed everything about revoke and delete. This is our the few other we have discussed so far. What do you mean by high level languages, and similarly low level language? We'll discuss in lab class about these all other languages in detail, that how to work on your database using the set of queries. Fine. So these are the few commands we have discussed. Then what do you mean by interfaces? Interfaces means that is your front end GUI, how your interfaces interact with your backend. So these are the various categories. You should know it. It is just a theoretical question being asked about 2 to 3 marks in your examination. What do you mean by the interfaces? Interfaces is nothing but a platform to interact with your databases. So it can be menu based, it can be your form based, fine. It can be your graphical user GUI based. It can be any natural language processing, or you can say any kind of in the form of compiler, or you as a user can understand. Similarly, interfaces for the parametric users, which are the naive users, which doesn't know much about that. So interfaces are them also. An interface for your sophisticated users, that is your DBA. So these are the all various kind of interfaces, how to interact with your backend users, depend upon user. It is a DBA that full commands, a small set of operations that user can perform. Automatic view. Form based means like it has a form, online form based, like it has a various options. You have to enter it, and then it will execute the queries. Like for example, add button, delete button, buttons are theirs, and various columns are there, and you can enter that form and use that database. Similarly, menu based options are like main menu, sub menus. So these are the various form structures, like in your VB.NET on C#. So these are various front end panels, depend upon your user. So how your user will be there, you have to design your interfaces for that one. So that makes a user friendly environment for the front end. Whether you are comfortable in CUI mode, character user interface mode, whether you are comfortable in a GUI mode. If you are a very good sophisticated user, you want to work as a direct queries on the database, then you are working as a DBA. If you have a limited scope and limited hands-on with the database, then you work as a parametric user. So these are various interfaces which can land you and which can have been used to make your front end comfortable. Then the second module in this one, unit 1, is your entity relation model. Yes, anybody, what do you mean by entity? So we'll be discussing here entity sets, relationships, design rules, ER diagrams, few gist, and more detail we'll discuss in a lab class, because that is a component of your lab. Fine, so we'll discuss in detail. Anybody for the entity? What do you mean by entity? Yes, is I am audible? Hello?
Ma'am, entity, any kind of object that exists.
Ma'am, any kind of real world object, this is school database, student.
Yes, ma'am. Any kind of object.
School database is a big term. Though it is an entity, school is an entity, but school database is a full, you can say, but it's a full elaborate, you can say, entity is the smallest component that exists in this world. So anything which has its own property, which is have his own attributes, any object in this real world defined as an entity. Fine. So entity relationship model is nothing but your overall logical structure. What I'm saying is the logical structure you're making on the pen and paper, or you can making a black and white version of your database, or you can say graphically you can represent your database or your online hierarchical structure. Fine. ER model is nothing. It gives you a structure to your data, how your data will be in the which format, in which table, how it exists in the form of that one. For example, in WIBS, you are one of the entity. Student is one kind of entity. Similarly, faculty is a one kind of entity. Fine. Anything real world object that exists in this is an entity in ER model. Fine. So ER model is nothing. It is used for your database designing. Fine. It is used to visualize and understand you. Similarly, these are the various components of the ER model. Anybody wants to answer about the what do you mean by weak entity and a strong entity? You have all read it, this one. Yes. Anything about weak entity and a strong entity?
Weak entity depends on some kind of attribute.
Okay. A strong entity, weak is actually dependent on the strong. Weak entity actually depends upon the strong, that is fine, and strong has its own representation and more identification of its own. We'll discuss in detail. Then these are the various attributes. What kind of attributes? Like a simple anything, any attribute, any entity has its own attributes. Fine. हर entity का एक attributes होते हैं, and attributes like means defining. You has your name, your enrollment number, your mobile number. So these are called as your attributes, and these are the various categories of the attributes, like simple attribute, key attributes, composite, derived, multi-valued. So these are the various categories we'll discuss in detail in further slides. Relationships, similarly, binary, tertiary, unary, 1:1, 1:n, n:1, and m:2n. So these are your relationships we'll discuss in further slides. So these are your, I think we have discussed this one also, ER model. I don't think so. It is a self-explanatory. What do you mean by how to represent your entity? Like this one, a square is there or rectangle is there. Similarly, attribute, representation, oval, how to represent your relationship with a diamond shape. Like this one, single entities, or you can say you want to represent your entities, sets, and the relationship sets with this horizontal lines. This is a representation of multi-values. For example, if a person has more than two mobile phones or more than one, then it's called as a multi-valued attribute. Similarly, derived, your date of birth, fine, and your age. Your age can be derived from the date of birth. So this is your called as your derived attribute. Similarly, total participation by shown by this. We'll discuss in detail how to go with this is your weak entity, this is your strong entity, and this is your weak entity representation. Similarly, weak relationships, composite. This is your composite, sorry. This is your composite relationships. You can break, fine. You can break your city into various addresses. You can address can be various divided into your localities, your street number. So this is your composite attributes. And these are your key attributes or a single value attributes. These are all representations of your ER diagrams. Fine. So this is nothing but your prime attribute or last one is your nothing but a prime attribute or a single value attribute. These are your relationships. I think we have discussed relationships also. ये पढ़ रखा है आप लोगों ने सब. Everything is there. What do you mean by entity? What do you mean by attributes? So these are all your relationships. Now this means relationship of 1:1. Fine. Your student. Fine. The student name as well as this is called as a student course. So this is your one entity is your student and one entity is your course. So 1:1 relationship. Similarly, student in a class. So class 1:many is this is your class. A is a class and these are the students. So 1:many. So this is kind of relationships we have with this, and we'll discuss in detail 1:1, 1:many, many-to-many. These are all notations. Fine. Now these are the use for your partial. These are also used for the fully operational. Now these are the symbols. These are the use for the many-to-many. This is used for 1:1, and this one is used for 1:many. So these are the various notations which are being used, and we will discuss in lab class in details how to work in this. Anything you want to ask in this slide, or shall I move further? I think it is self-explanatory. What do you mean by relationships? Fine. 1:1, 1:many, many:1. Fine. So these are the what we will discuss, and you can be self-explained through case studies. Like this is one of the case study of your. Fine. Now this is the one entity, your teacher. Fine. And this is your, it works for a one department. So this works for is your relationship. This is your strong entity. This is also your strong entity. And this is your strong relationship. So teacher works for the department. This is a one kind of relationship. So this is a relationship works for. This is an entity and these are all your attributes, department ID and department name. And these are your same teacher attributes, teacher ID, teacher name, mobile number, age, and the salary. Fine. This is the basic ER model, how to work with your ER diagrams. Similarly, one more example. This will showing your cardinality ratio. These are your cardinality ratio. For example, many students. Fine. A many student can enroll for the many courses also. Fine. In one of the two courses. So it can be work as M:n. So many students can enroll or takes many courses. Fine. And similarly, M:n is a cardinality ratio. It takes also further has the attributes like relationship also defined as attributes like year, semester, and marks. Similarly, course has a primary key, and you can say a course name in this one. Course ID definitely it can be work as a primary key, but it can here is showing that course name is a key for the course. So this is your prime attribute, which defines the uniqueness of the course. Similarly, student and student ID is your prime attribute. All others are your general attributes. So these are your attributes: date of birth, year enrolled, surname, and this is the basic layout of your ER diagram. Any questions? Any questions, class? That is clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Hello. Okay, fine. Which query here that you can raise or anything you want to ask it? Shall I proceed further?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
I think this is self-explanatory and you have done it. Now, for example, this one case study, this is the last thing we are discussing today, the ER model. Then after this, I will upload few case studies and we'll discuss that case studies in your lab class for the coming Thursday. So this is the one case study I'm discussing. I will give you such more case studies and I will upload the team's channels. You will check and we'll discuss that case studies in the coming lab class, or that is on Thursday. Fine. So this is your case study. You have a simple database. You have to design a simple database for National Hockey League. National Hockey League has many teams. Fine. This is a case study being given to you, and you have to construct a ER diagram for that database. So this is a database we have designed, and these are the conditions given to us to design our ER diagram. For example, NH has a many teams. Second, each team has name, city, a coach, a captain, and a set of players. Third, each player belongs to one team. Fine. Each player has a name, position, skill set, everything, attribute a player has. A team captain is also a player. A game is played between two teams, refers to as host team and a guest team, and has a date such as this and a scorecard such as 4-2. Now you have to construct the ER diagram for your this database. Now here is a team, fine. Now it has a many teams, fine, and a team, it has a captain, fine. It has a player. One is an entity, that is your team. One is your player. These are two entities, fine. Now team has other attributes like name, your coach. Teams has these attributes of the team: name, city, coach, captain, and a set of players. Set of players, you have make one more identity, this one a player, fine. Players belongs to one team. So player belongs to one team, so relationship is belong to, and it belongs to one team. So this is actually 1:1 ratio. So this is one player and a one team. So that relationship, player belongs to that team. Similarly, a team captain is also a player. So one relationship is captain. Fine. So one is captain, and that is a relation between team and a player. One relationship is a captain and one relationship is your belong to. Fine. Similarly, this one, game. This is a relationship. Now teams have game, and game has an attribute like score. This is a game. A game is played by the two teams. For example, this is a team. It has a relationship. Fine. That is a game. And game has an attribute like this one, score and the date. Fine. So this is a game that is played between this one. So relationships do have their attributes, and this is a relationship that teams has to play between scores and your date. So this is a game, that's a relationship with the team. This is a player. Player has an attribute like skill level, player name, player position. Similarly, we have for the player also. For example, player has name, position, skill level, and a set of injury records. Now, set of injury records can be maintained like this one. There's a weak entity. You can represent this as a weak entity. Injury records. Injury records has attributes like ID and the descriptions. Fine. Now, injury record is a weak entity and is dependent on your player. You cannot have any information about the injury if does not depend on a player. Player ka hi injury record hoga. So player is a strong entity. This player is a strong entity, and this injury record is a weak entity. So it has to be derived. It is totally dependent upon the player. जो player होगा वो उसी की ही injury record रहेगा. That is why this is a dependent on the player. So this is a strong entity and this is your weak entity. And they have the relationship of your logging. So they have the log information that goes to the injury records, and injury records has a description of its own. So this is your weak entity. This is your strong entities. These are your attributes. Fine. And these are the relationship between team and your players. Clear? And they have, now this is showing the full participation. This game and the team is showing the full participation. That is why it is called as double line, total participation, because team has to go for the games. Fine. So team has to go for the game, and that is why the full participation. You cannot have the games with the teams. You cannot organize any of the games between the two teams if it does not have the teams. So they have the full participation. So one is the games, and they have the full participation with the teams. Teams can be more than that, but each team has its attributes. Each team has its captain. Each team belongs to the player. Players has further the injury records. Yes, class. I think it is self-explanatory how to do with your ER diagram and how to work with your ER diagrams. And in the do a question on the basis of your ER diagram. Yes, class. Any query? Anything you want to ask from this case study? Any questions? Any confusions? हेलो, एक तो आप लोग बोलते नहीं हो ना, मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि मैं बोल चुकी हूँ. Is I am audible? No, मतलब audible नहीं हूँ या sorry. ये केस स्टडी सब कुछ समझ आई? हेलो, ये क्लास
यस मैम, समझ में आ गया।
आ गया मैम।
आ गया? Fine.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
It
ma'am.
is just one case study we have discussed. We will discuss 4 more case studies in the lab class. ये just एक example है, ये so that you can able to work it on the Thursday, and we'll discuss more studies, and you have to design few on your own, and we'll discuss more in this. Clear? Fine.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so this is the case studies we have discussed. In the next class, we will discuss about the entity types and entity sets. This is all for today lecture, that we discuss what do you mean by ER model, how to design, what are the various components of the ER models, what do you mean by attributes, what do you mean by relationships, entity, records. These are all the symbols being used. Now, every ER diagram, you have different skill set and different nomenclature. But don't worry about that. Your concept should be clear, that what is a weak entity, what is a strong entity, what to be derived, what are your simple attributes, key attributes, what are the composite attributes, what are the relationships you all have. So main, you have to understand the logical concepts. Whatever symbols you are using in ER diagrams, it cannot affect what your concepts are there. So your concept should be clear in ER diagrams. You can use any of the symbols for binary, for relationships, for total participations, but majorly your concept should be clear, that what goes in a relationship, what goes in entities, what are the all attributes, and how to design your ER diagram. Clear? So these are the all, this is all about the relationship model. We'll discuss further in detail in ER model in the next class. Yes, class? Is I am clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
यस मैम।
Okay. Anything you want to ask, you let me know. कुछ और पूछना है? Any
No,
queries,
ma'am.
anything? So in the lab class, we will discuss and you have to make the few ER diagrams. 2-3 sessions in lab class will be your ER diagram. So we will discuss what are the tools to use in ER diagram. ER diagrams. We will discuss in lab class coming Thursday. Clear? So thank you all,
Okay, ma'am.
and stay healthy, stay home. We will discuss other things about the ER diagram in the next class. Thank you guys. Take care.